Hi everyone, in this episode of Take Charge Now, the topic comes to me via my weekly segment on Instagram. It's called Ask Me Anything, and there are often many financial questions. And so this question was, how do I know if I have the right financial planner or advisor for me? And I think that's a really great question, and it's one that I'm often asked because the reality is, what if your advisor's just not that into you? What are some of the red flags? And so let's stand back and I'll be very clear. This is what I look for. I am a certified financial planner, but we also have an advisor for a whole host of reasons. I want to make sure our portfolio's looked at from arm's length. I'd like to make sure that they're on top of it on a daily basis. I don't often have time to buy and sell at exactly the moment that maybe I should be. And I want to talk to my advisor at least on a quarterly basis and do a full annual review. So this advisor, from my perspective, who I feel comfortable with, has to get me emotionally as well as financially. They have to understand, what are some of my goals? Are they getting excited about me saving money for something that matters to them? Or are they getting excited about something that matters to me? Because obviously you know which way I want to go on it. You also want to ask the question, how are you compensated? Look, it's a business. They need to be compensated, but you need to understand how it's going to happen. And it's all about full, true, and plain disclosure. But also, it really comes down to how often they communicate, in the way they communicate. I mean, there are a whole host of areas that we should look at. And in fact, I made a list of them. So let's go through some of them. Here are some of the signs that I think your advisor's just not that into you. There is a lack of proactive communication, especially during periods of market volatility. I mean, think about it. These markets have been extremely volatile. If you are not hearing from your advisor, I think there's a problem. And it shouldn't be you all the time calling to say, hey, I want to know what's going on with my portfolio, or my portfolio is down X amount. What are your thoughts on it? Because here's what I know for sure. Money is mobile, it's sensitive, and it's scarce. And that means you can move anytime you want from your advisor if they're not living up to your expectations. So I'm looking for proactive communication. They talk at you rather than to you. Enough said there. They're more focused on their goals than your goals. That can be a big one. They often have their agenda, or they have their products that they want to sell. Are you suggesting products that are in my best interest or your best interest? Because there could be a big difference. There may not be, but there could be if you don't have the conversation. Some advisors actually give you the impression that they are lucky enough to have, for you to have them as your advisor. No, you're lucky enough to have me as your client. Full stop. Took me a while to get around that, but you know what I mean. Now, so if you're unhappy, I think what you have to do though is not just take a one-off. You have to really establish with yourself, what is really bothering you about this relationship? What is not working for you in it? Is it not enough communication? I have here performance. Is it habitually lacking? Are you hitting benchmarks? Are you constantly under, or are you overshooting? Because overshooting can be a problem as well. Because I know it sounds like a nice problem to have, but if you're getting unrealistic returns, I think you still need to ask the question, why? What's the attitude like? I just want someone who is friendly. I don't want a hostile, and I don't want someone talking down to me. And I'm in the business, and I have experienced people thinking, I don't know what I'm talking about. And I might not, but I don't want it to come across that way. I want it to be a dialogue. If I don't understand all of the investments that I have in my portfolio, someone once said to me, if you can explain your investments to an 8-year-old, then you understand what's in your portfolio. I know that sounds a little trite, but you get where I'm coming from. If you can explain what's in your portfolio to someone else, then you've got a pretty good grasp of it. If you don't have any faith in their knowledge, move on. And promoting inappropriate products. Inappropriate. You don't need to take on more risk in your portfolio than you're comfortable with, than you can afford to have, than you're willing to have. And think about the sleep factor. If you're worried about your portfolio and you're not sleeping at night, you need to pay attention to it. So once you've determined it's not working, here's what I would do. I would call, I would book an appointment, I would sit down, and I would talk to them, and I would give it to them straight. Decide if your problems can realistically be addressed. And, if you do resolve that you are going to be proactive, you are going to stay in touch, to avoid slippage, just set some dates up and make sure they're in the calendar. Because at the end of the day, if your advisor's just not that into you, it is time to move on. Because I've said it before and I'll say it again. No one, not your advisor, not your planner, not your partner, no one is going to care more about you and your financial success and your financial future than you. It's your money.